Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Bobby J on 30A. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with Bobby Johnson and the one and only Bev Johnson.
Oh my gosh.
Yay!
Chris,
Yay.
what have I done? What?
I know, man. Listen, Bev's energy is incredible. I can't wait for this interview.
So this will end up Beverly's vlog after this.
It always does.
I did. Yeah. So
We only want to hear from Bev from now on.
I know.
I've been in the other room the whole time going, no.
But
Yes,
you know
no.
what's really cool about that, though, because you know how busy I am, I might one day go, hey, Bev, you got to meet Chris on the show and run this thing. So
Wouldn't be his first time.
And it would not disappoint, I'm sure.
Yeah.
yeah, we used to write this article for the 30A Review, or Beverly used to
Oh,
write
that's
it.
cute. No, we didn't write it.
And so I would write down some scribble like, I like the beach and the white.
Yeah, it's very good.
And then she'd turn it into something
Like,
amazing.
this week's article is about our youngest child.
Nice.
And,
Yeah.
so, and people would stop us, and it was so cute because Bobby was always gracious about it. But people would come up to him, and they would say, "Oh my gosh, your articles, they just are so personal, and they just touch me so deeply." And Bobby would just go, "Thank you." And I would be sitting there like, "Oh, that's really sweet."
You know,
And I loved it because we're a team.
That's part of the story.
That's
but
awesome.
I won't. That's good. That's good.
That's
We won't-
awesome. Well, you guys have been married for how long now?
Funny story.
Yeah.
Truth or lie.
We don't.
We're not 100% sure we ever filed that.
We forgot
So
the day.
we
You
don't
definitely-
ever look it up, but we know it's
You
sometime
know
around
what?
Valentine's
We decided
Day.
to celebrate at Valentine's Day just to
Valentine's Day,
say this
yeah.
is it, because it's close to that day and we were having to do it twice.
20 years ago.
So we were like, let's just make it Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
And call.
yeah,
And you
we're
know, the cool
Valentine's
thing.
Day. It's somewhere
That's
around
awesome.
then, we know.
Yeah, but a funny thing about being, I guess we're going to be talking about marriage. What the heck? We don't really get into a lot of that stuff. I mean, we really we're not big gift people back to each other. We buy stuff throughout the year. If I see something I'm out and about, I grab it for Beverly or whatever. But people will always ask, "What'd you guys do for Christmas?" or "What did you do for your
But anniversary is always our thing.
anniversary?"
We
We're
don't-
like, we don't really do
We
all that, you know.
But I will say this, I'm going to tell on you. Is that okay?
I don't know.
He
I
picks
don't
out
Yes, it's
80%.
okay.
He picks out 80% of my clothes. Like if I am in a nice outfit, Bobby's bought it for me. Or he picked it out.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
that's-
Everything I own,
Beverly,
right?
you're gonna-
Everything I have on right now.
You're gonna get me beat up by my boss.
Everything I have on now. Right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
get
love
beat up.
Well, listen, you guys are doing something right. You've been together regardless of how long. Nobody knows how long you've actually been married.
20 years.
You might not
Wait,
want to listen to some of this stuff because
20 or 26 together.
Well, we lived together 24 years. We lived together 4 years. So we have been together 24 years as of
Wow.
next month.
Wow.
Okay, there you go. So that's why I love this topic, because I mean, I want to know. I've been married 19 years this August, but I want to know what from your life experience, what has made it work that you guys haven't killed each other by now. Because you're both strong personalities, so I'm sure there are
That is
opportunities.
that can be a problem. I mean, it really
Yeah.
can be. You know.
Get over your half face.
Oh, I'm right over here.
Your
Sorry,
half
sorry,
face.
sorry. That can be a little bit of a problem, but I think what we both have learned that we're the kind of people that will get into it. Okay, like just. I almost think it's kind of just like it's a feel-good thing, like it's emotional, like just
Prove to me that
Dis-
you love me by
yeah.
fighting with me.
disagree, and then it will be like, "Hey, you want a sandwich? You want to go out to eat?" And we don't even like talk
Yeah.
about it again. So I think that is a very helpful thing. I think early on, my version of this is that we learned that we don't threaten the divorce thing or whatever. That's never an
The
option.
D
you
word's
know?
not in our vocabulary.
So when we learned that early on with a marriage counselor, I forgot about that. You know, so you know,
we
Chris,
got marriage counseling before we got married.
Wow.
That was important to know the rules of the game before you start playing the game.
Rules of the game. I love that. Yeah. Like, were there rules of the game? Like, you don't say the D word. What are the rules?
Absolutely. Some of the rules we called them fouls when we were
Were there?
dating.
Yeah.
And some of those rules are don't bring up the past. So if you have a fight and you go, "Oh, well, last Thursday you did such and such," that's a foul. Don't bring up the past, and don't go to your go-to defense mechanism. So my defense mechanism is sarcasm. Bobby's is passive aggressive. And so those are fouls. And so we don't, when we are in an argument or when we are at a place where we are on two different sides of an issue, we are not allowed to foul each other. We're not allowed to go to sarcasm. We're not allowed to go to passive aggressive. And we just kind of be mindful of that.
For me, instead, if you can,
it's not always perfect. I mean, I think, as you sit in here and talk about things like this,
sure,
we definitely have fouls and we definitely cross the lines. And the end of all that, though, is we both know that it's okay to be mad.
Right.
At your significant other. And I think sometimes people couples take that too far and realize, oh, it's the end or something. And so I've always felt that it's okay. And Beverly knows this is how I roll, Chris. I can make a complete ass of myself, right? And I can get 5 minutes down the road and I come back in a minute when I'm wrong. And
I call that the Book of Bobby.
The Book of Bobby.
I call most things. I refer to the Book of Bobby for most things. And it's like, what would Bobby do? And Bobby is the most introspective person I know. And he
too much
cleans his side of the street. Like I heard him talking about earlier about an argument that he got onto on social media. And he thought about what he had said, and he reversed all of his opinions and apologized. And Bobby does that. It's the Book of Bobby. He always cleans his side of the street.
Yeah.
But also for me, my particular behavior is that I don't stay in things long. I'm kind of like a hummingbird, if you will. Just a little attention here and then a little attention here. And so I don't stay in anger long. I don't stay in resentment ever.
Wow.
And I think it's important to, if you're going to go in it, you have to get out of it as fast as you went in it. And another, I'm going to tell him one more time.
This is your show.
Aside from the Book of Bobby, Bobby is a very big fan of like. And that's our number one. I would say that's our number one recommendation for marriage for people who are married.
This tidbit right here will rock your world. Okay?
A fan of like, L-I-K-E. Like.
Can you take it? Or should
I? Bev's got it.
Should I mansplain? I'm going to mansplain it when she gets done.
I'm going to explain it, and then Bobby's going to tell you what I meant to say.
All right. Hilarious.
So, the Book of Like, or he's a fan of like.
Fan of like.
He's a fan of like.
This is going to make a lot of sense.
And that means for me.
If you're listening to this, listen closely.
I love
just
Bobby.
in a relationship.
I love my husband. There's so much love. We have a child together. We have a family together.
What's not to love?
What's not to love?
Right?
He's beautiful. That helps.
Easy on the eyes. Yeah.
And it's easy. It's, sometimes it's quite off. People always say, oh, well, I'm not in love with you yet. I just like you. Well, that's bullshit. Because let me tell you, it's harder to like someone than it is to love them. And Bobby and I work on liking each other. Loving each other comes secondary. It comes easy.
I always say,
but I need to like who the person he is. I need to like that guy that walks in from work and that guy that leaves every day to work. And he needs to like me.
Probably the most important thing about a relationship, Chris, is that when you're in college with your roommate, you don't need to love your roommate, but you need to like them. Right. And so we really work, and oftentimes we don't like each other and we identify that. So the love part we know is there, and that's probably
the love is always going to be there.
What keeps it working. But the like is like, well, pretty much what I do is when I identify it as I leave and we take separate vacations. So.
That's true.
There's that. Yeah. So
do you really? That's awesome. I love it.
In fact, only for the last couple of years have we ever really vacationed together.
I think we probably like each other more now than we have through this whole journey.
Okay, hang on. There's a lot of stuff under the surface of this you guys have to unpack, right? Like, so when you say you go to work on liking each other, what does that mean? Like you're going on dates, you're buying each other flowers, or you're just
working on love.
Okay. So tell me about working on like.
In love. So to work on liking somebody is working on the human that they are. Because
Yep.
if I like Bobby for buying me things
Yep.
or for taking me out on a date, that's romance.
Okay. Okay.
But I want to like him. I want to like the human part.
How do you work on it? What's like what?
Can I give you a little tip?
Yeah.
And maybe it's too early in the show here.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh,
And
we're
this
going
is-
there.
This is
No time like the present.
We're just going to talk about like right now. We're talking about
this
like
is-
how do you like me?
Well, no, but he said that it's an important. This is an important component. Like, what are ways to stay liking with somebody? Do you want to know what one of them is?
I do.
Is to have separate bedrooms.
Oh yeah. I've heard of this, by the way. It's not.
My space.
And he
right.
has his space.
So, and again, it's not a bad thing. It's like it started with
Right.
a shoulder injury for me. And then one day I was just like still sleeping in the room. I'm like, hey, this is I'm actually getting some good sleep here, because sleep is very healthy and very important. And
Right,
very
right.
important for me. And it's also very important to me at times. And then there's times when I don't sleep in the other room.
Mhm.
And then there's times where, well, we don't want to get into that, but
Well, I wanted to go back to the like. I wanted to go back because you asked me a specific question.
Yeah. Yeah.
You said, how do you work on it?
Yes.
And I want to talk about how I work on it.
oh, yeah, you got it.
And in order to,
You be you.
how do you work on it? Maybe you work on it because you don't have to hear me snore at night or whatever. That's how you work
That
on
was
it.
kind of where I was
But
headed with it.
for me, how I work on liking you is I see your interactions day to day with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I see the person he is outside of whatever we're doing in this house. And I go, wow, if he were a total stranger, would I want to hang out with him? Would I like him?
Yeah.
If I see his social media, I see his public service, I see the things that he does out into the community. His outreach during the hurricane was just like, oh, I like that guy. and the way that he is selfless in things outside of our home, I have to stop and find gratitude for that. Like, wow, this is somebody who's a good person. And it's easy to like a good person. Now, what goes on in our house, that's all love. Like that's romance and love and how we work on loving you. But how I work on liking you is I watch you interact with people outside of us.
Wow. That is very, very kind. I didn't see that comment.
You know what?
She can be nice.
Bev, tell me if this is, I hear mindfulness in that, like it's an act of mindfulness where you're choosing to acknowledge or see in somebody in your partner the things that you really like.
I think you have to
and
work.
That takes work.
You have to work on.
Yeah,
you have to
it
work
takes
on
work.
like.
It's not easy.
Yeah, they're not called relationships for nothing. They're a lot of work, and there's where when you're in a part of it where you're not liking your significant other, that's okay.
Got a lot of not likes over here.
Yeah, we're just like okay, but.
Heating up.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, if I was to say what helps me like Beverly is, she sits here. Sorry, we have a dog running around here that when you see me look down, I'm not trying to just flash my
He is.
my logo, but it's my dog, right?
Yeah, check out the logo.
Yeah. So Beverly gave me a gift a while back that I did not have, and it was a gift of. Yeah, the gift of giving. Like I come from a different background a little bit where, I work really hard and all my stuff is my stuff, right? And so even down to the financial side of life, like she is a huge giver. And she's sitting over here talking about me being a giver. And I learned it all from her. Like literally we kind of pick people out in the community or wherever and we try to lift them up and we kind of have this thing between the two of us where we look for people that are in need. And that isn't from me. You know what I mean? I mean, I get to probably get the benefit of it. My name gets on it in social media or wherever people tag Bobby Johnson or whatever, but it's her. She taught me how to give. And I don't know that I could ever have learned that without her.
So there you go.
There
Apparently
you go.
I'm narcissistic because I like the qualities in him that I put there.
Well.
I like that about you because it's like me.
We are great mirrors for each other. We're great reflections for each other. That's great.
Right.
So
Love it.
I'll let you go back to the sleeping in different bedrooms. That's
Well, I
hilarious.
mean, it offends people. I will say.
People get mad about that.
Yeah. So I don't
Isn't that
want
interesting?
And we're not saying we have different bedrooms for the duration of our marriage or all the time. We just have our own spaces.
Yeah.
Sometimes where he can have his space sometimes and I can have my space.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
And it's
Right.
amazing.
Right.
It's what it is.
It's like, so oftentimes when we brought this up to other couples, you'll have one of them that'll get upset. I've had men go, "Don't tell my wife that." And then the wife's like, and then the wife has said, "Hey, would you tell my husband that?" And it's okay. It's not a horrible thing. It really
It reminds me of the 4 agreements that you mentioned several episodes back, right? Where like, we have these cultural agreements about what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And we never actually question, why is that agreement the way it is? Like, what if it just worked better? What if it wasn't a threat to your relationship, but it actually was, we're trying. What if you tried it?
Great way of looking at
Amazing.
it. Yeah.
Women have she sheds. Men have man caves. And those are the things that they do for themselves during the day.
Totally.
Sometimes we have our own Bobby provided us this beautiful house where we have a bedroom at each end of the house. And
I mean,
he needs to be in that room.
Most of the time there's
at
3 of
night,
us.
he can be
and
in that room.
There's 5 bedrooms. So why not?
Yeah. Right. Sure.
You know what
Yeah. I
mean?
love it.
And just get some good night's sleep. Go in there if you want. It's not the other person going, "Hey, could you turn your computer off, or could you turn your TV off?" If you read at night on the computer, it's bad for you and not be able to get sleep.
Really
do whatever
good
the
sleep.
hell you want to do. You're in your own room. And
There is something like that absence makes the heart grow fonder thing, like when you have some time apart, you really can see the other person.
And so you begin to like them. And so one of the things too that I think we've been able to do with work though is that we try to continue to feel like we're still dating in a sense. I like a little mystery in many ways. Like I don't necessarily have like, "Hey, I'm gonna run into town. Do you want me to go with you?" No, I don't. I want to go alone, and I have a lot of thinking to do, and I sometimes will go out for a weekend, and I've even gone to a hotel nearby and get a room and get my computer in front of me and spend a time to kind of dial myself in when I know I'm not right, so I can be a good person to her and the family. And it's important.
It's great because you have something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So then you meet up at the breakfast table or at the dinner table or after the weekend, and you are able to have these meaningful conversations, and you have all this great stuff to talk about, kind of like you're courting. And there's nothing as amazing as is it dopamine that you get from courting? Like from that dopamine that you get when you're dating somebody and things are fresh and amazing and new. And so I think for us, we try to just make it like that. And we don't have to be 100% involved in every aspect of each other's lives. And it's great because when we have our coffee talk, as Bobby talked about, when we finally get to sit down for coffee talk, there's little surprises and nuances, and it's
that's
nice.
so beautiful.
But you learn all this again. It's funny from trial and error. You know what I mean? Like we didn't always. Chris, I think you and I talk about this a lot. Things kind of evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So as couples, go through their journey, this isn't something that I would say that works for everybody right away. It might end up that you're here. I would have never first got with Beverly and let's all sleep in other rooms or this or that. Or a lot of times I've said this to people and they've said, maybe you're growing apart. Right?
Got with Beverly.
And
you're adorable.
Got with them.
I love him.
Yeah.
He's
And but I knew I'd lose my thought on that with her.
I can't help it.
Got with Bev.
Got with Bev. That's going to be the name of our podcast one day. Got with Bev.
Yeah.
I love it.
Listen, we went to high school together.
You guys went to high school together?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
She was like a little younger than me, but she was kind of dating my brother.
No way.
No.
You didn't date my brother?
No. We did together one time.
That's
a rumor.
No, never dated
It's a
your
rumor
brother,
that's going around my family.
I never dated, but
Long rumor. That's a long rumor.
True story. I had a big crush on your brother.
Oh my
God.
Does he know that?
Yeah, he's one of my besties.
All right. Well.
That's awesome. Listen, I can tell the energy between you guys. Awesome. I think one of the things that, Bobby, we talked about this in the last episode, but leadership and sometimes leadership is about how we inspire a community and not just how we get a real estate transaction done. And I think sometimes marriage is one of those topics that often can be toxic, just because people haven't figured it out. Like it's really, there's a lot of baggage attached to it sometimes. And there's a lot, it's a very sensitive topic. And I love that you guys are talking about it, because I think sometimes it doesn't mean you have to have separate rooms, but what if we were just open to it being different ways and ways that work, versus if the way you listening to this right now have it isn't working,
Yeah.
you don't have to survive it.
Yeah.
You could like just look for a different way to do it.
Right.
I think we all need to be open-minded to change things, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have flowed. Like
Yeah.
you said, we started off in our,
I'll tell you a quick story that just reminded me of it. So I was done with being married to her. This was probably
You were done being married to her. I am over this.
I do.
It was actually, we were living in
Oh.
Carolina. We moved back from California. We were under a tremendous amount of stress, and
we were at each other's throats.
it was bad. And
moving, stress, kid.
we'd gone out,
Hmm.
got a bite to eat, and we'd come back, and I was just going to tell her all these things that I didn't like about her. You know, I was like, I had a list. I broke it out. You know, like, hey,
Because like is important.
these are things I don't like about you. You know.
Yeah.
And, she goes, you know, all of those things you don't like about me. I go, yeah. She goes, I feel exactly the same way about you. And I was like, wait a minute. This was
How
about
dare you?
immediately. Wait a minute. But it was a real, I think for us, it was a defining moment that we fell out of like.
Yeah.
And we sought help. We searched it.
And like I said, you have to work on liking somebody.
I mean,
Liking the person that
when
they
you walk
are.
in a room and your wife's they're eating cereal and the crunch noise, you want to smash her over the head with a pan. You got a problem.
Right.
So you got to learn to either
I feel
communicate
that.
or remove yourself. And so I've learned to like remove myself. I'll go out to the garage, lift some weights, do some yoga. Most of my problems I've learned in my life are me. I mean, I look in the mirror and I go,
That's
wow.
what I love about Bobby. He's
I
very introspective. He looks at himself and he finds out why the things that I'm doing bother him. What's the root of that?
Yeah.
And then he works on that. And he says that, I'll refer back to the book of Bobby. He says that all the time. He'll say, you know, as long as I clean my side of the street, as long as
Isn't that all we can do, Chris?
Yeah, all you can do is clean up your side.
I mean, even if you're, sorry, Bev.
No, go ahead.
Even if you're wrong or right, I think it's important to just, you know what, I have a role and let me get done with it. And sometimes it's a selfish thing that you do it just to get to the other side of it, you know, and maybe because they're viewing it different, or what did I say the other day? I don't want to die on that mountain. And I've learned it in this 20, how many years? 20 what?
Ish.
20-ish. I pick my mountains to die on.
Yep.
There's something that I really am going to make a stand about.
Yeah.
And
what are those?
That I make a stand about?
Oh.
Don't touch my surfboards. That is the number one thing that can piss me off and make me not like you, is to touch my surfboard.
What's mine?
Yours? Oh boy, this is like the dating game.
Bachelor one.
Oh, I think it's, I mean, I might be wrong here, but you don't like when I roll my eyes. That's one. And then also, I think it's important when, if I could say this, if I get this right, if I don't have her back.
100%.
Was that right?
100%. Right here, dude.
Oh.
Fist bump, Bobby. Let's do it.
So we learned very early on in our marriage. We used to have an art gallery and we had clients that come in. And I remember the day we got married.
Chris, I got that right.
I asked those people, you got that right. I know. I asked this people, Cherry, her name's Cherry. And I said, tell me how you make it work. You have 5 children and you've been married for all these years and we're getting married. And she said, punch out. I didn't know what that meant.
Wow.
Punch out. Do you remember
I
that?
forgot about that. Wow.
And I was like, what does that mean to punch out? And she said, imagine like you're watching a movie or you see people two people like the dynamic duo when they're in a fight.
Yeah.
Their backs are facing each other. They're back to back and they're punching out.
Mm-hmm.
So never turn inward and punch at each other. Always have each other's back.
Yeah.
And that resonated with me. And if any time in our marriage when I saw that I thought maybe you didn't have my back, that was my worst. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But you know, I really I can't think of it. There's nothing that sticks out that you never did.
I think you guys should be, are you guys opening a clinic, or are you open to opening a clinic for pre-marriage counseling or?
Man, we'd produce some pretty wild couples around here.
So, we have older daughters and nieces, so we do a lot of this counseling. Trust me.
It's good though. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's
And
really good.
that whole like thing is a concept that we just discovered one day how critical it was. And when you share it with couples, they really kind of dig into that, and it's really a positive message, and it removes a little bit. Love, I think, is an overused word. I really do. I love you, Chris. Love you. I'm sometimes getting off the phone with clients. I'm so used to saying, I'm like,
bye, I love you.
I love you. And I go, did I just say I love you? Yeah. I did.
Yeah.
But it takes a little work to like.
Like is,
I love it.
Yeah.
I like it. I love it. I like it. I can see you guys doing a monthly like wine and cheese deal and having like couples come around and just talking about life and marriage. And wouldn't that be a cool thing for the community?
That's
let's do it.
Do we have nachos? Because that's another
tacos, street tacos, nachos,
street tacos.
Yeah, we'll do.
You and your wife in and sit there and talk about liking.
BJ and BJ.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think so. I think it'd be awesome. I love it. What a great thing for the community, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Fun. I love it.
Well, let me say this. Let's wrap here. This is a great conversation. Bev, we should have you back on the show, I think.
Heck yeah, you should.
Your energy's awesome.
She's super shy.
She's dynamite, Bobby. Yeah. She's a firecracker. I think part of the reason people move to communities like 30A, like beautiful communities, right, is for lifestyle. And part of lifestyle comes with partnership and marriage and who we have relationship with. And I just think that, you can buy a cool house in 30A, but if you're going to fill that house with like and love and good vibes and good feelings, right? Like, I think that's why I love this conversation, because Bobby J on 30A isn't just a real estate show. This is about how do we live in the communities that we buy houses in, right? That's right. This is the real stuff. This is the real stuff.
So all right, Bev, I got one for you. We're not talking about a property today. We're going to ask you,
all right,
what is your favorite? I've never asked you this, actually. What is your favorite thing or area of 30A? What do you like about 30A?
Well,
and you grew up here. She's actually one of the
I'm the
local
between us.
True local, right?
True local.
I've been here I'm a local unless I'm with her. You know what I mean? So it's all about how long you've been here. Right?
Yeah.
So in keeping with that, I think that is what I love most about 30A. Bear with me. So I was here from the beginning, I'm 48. So I was here as a little girl and I got to see white sandy beaches with not another soul around for as far as the eye could see. I got to see the inception and beautiful developments that are dotted along 30A. All the communities go up, with the exception of a couple that were here, Grayton, some Seagrove. And I saw it with my eyes and they were just, of course, filled with wonder. And then as I grew older and began to work and establish jobs along 30A, I got to see it through different eyes. I got to see the development come in and the people come in. And every year, whether you've been here one day or your whole 48-year-old life, you get to see it with fresh eyes. I get to see it with our eyes, where we remember the big white hills and having to drive 30 miles to a doctor, but the community and the pasta hanging up on the houses at Seaside to dry. And then I had the honor of walking down the beach the other day, in a part of the beach that we really haven't been to since we were in our 20s, just because we created a home somewhere else on that beach. And to see it through somebody else's eyes and to go, wow, this place, no matter how many houses they build here, it's still beautiful. It's still reverent. It's still amazing.
Somebody's having a good old day today.
Somebody's having a great day. And
You know,
I think that's the best part about growing up on 30A, is that I get to see it from old OG, you know,
Yeah.
I get to be a original gangster, and I get to see
Yeah.
it from fresh eyes. And I just am so blessed and honored to be able to do all that.
And we can get frustrated about that. You know, sometimes the building and the growth and
Sure.
being an agent, there's a fine line of that, but
Yeah.
Beverly just nailed it. Or we can realize that someone is having a good old day today, right?
Yeah, the
And be-
water's still salty and
embrace
it's
it
beautiful.
and be like,
Yeah.
wow, this is like,
Yeah.
we need to, you hate to be the guy, like someone comes up and they're like, oh, this place is beautiful. And you're like, well, you should have been here in the 80s. You know what I mean?
Don't do that to
Yeah.
somebody.
I don't do that to people. I
No,
try
'cause
to,
it's so,
yeah.
it's still, the water's still amazing and the people are still friendly, and
Yeah.
it's a really good grouper sandwich wherever you go.
We talked about
so-
that.
That grouper sandwich, man. You said that. Yeah. Love that. That's
And-
so good. I love it. That's beautiful. Wow. What a beautiful community you guys get to live in and be a part of. That's so awesome.
So
Yeah,
blessed.
we like to, every day when I take my son to school.
Oh my God, that was so big.
I'll send you a video, Chris, someday of what I look at as I
Yeah.
go to school, and I just remind myself. I tell my son, I'm like, you know, that doesn't exist in other places. man.
We're
It's just-
literally, without sounding trite, it's a world famous view. It's
Wow.
renowned all over the world, and it's beautiful, and we get to experience it every day.
Wow.
right.
That's awesome. I love it. Way to keep the main things the main things.
Come see
Well,
us.
I like
Yeah.
you both. I
We
really
got
like you
bedrooms.
both.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Riley, thanks for having
Hey, Chris,
me.
we like you and we love you. So,
Thank you. Yeah. Like you, love you. Thank you. Like you, love you.
You
Bobby.
like you, and that's important. That's important.
That is important.
It
Thank you.
is
yes.
important, Chris. Trust
It is
me.
important.
Thanks for
Yeah.
inviting me. I'm
Yes,
sorry if
hey,
I
I loved it. I liked
took
it and
over
I
your
loved
vlog.
it. I liked
You-
it and
It
I
was
loved
really
it.
and
good.
I like you and I love you. I'm gonna peace out. Nice
Peace
to see you.
out. Peace out, Bev.
Chris.
Bobby, if people want to reach out to you, where can they go?
30alocalrealestate.com. That's one of my websites. 30A Local Properties is another one.
Okay.
850-865-7798. And maybe we'll have a class on marriage one day. And
I think you should, man. If you, hey, listen, you guys listening to this, if that's interesting to you at all in any way, it could be, maybe it's private so that you're not like airing all your stuff in the public forum. But, you know, if that's interesting to you, you guys should reach out to Bobby through his Facebook page or through his email or his website, whatever. But get a hold of Bobby.
It's you're in it. When you get married and you're in it, stay in it. It's worth it. It's a
Yeah.
long journey.
That's a good. Thanks, Bobby. Thanks for bringing this type of. That was real today. I love it.
Got it. Bye.
Thanks, man.